up with Kansas State at 7-5 in Big 12 play. Along with the most outstanding player from the 1997 Final Four, Miles Simon. And Miles, we have a good one for you tonight. As Texas, Iowa State, the Longhorns have won 9 out of 10 against the highest scoring team in the Big 12 Conference.
Well, the Longhorns might be the biggest surprise in the Big 12. They're picked to finish towards the bottom half, but Rick Barnes' squad is a young, energetic team. Better team chemistry this year, but they're going against an Iowa State team that has a starting 5 that you would put against anyone in the country. Remember, Iowa State started 14-0 earlier this season, moved into the top 10 in the country.
Well, take us to the one-on-one. What are you looking for tonight?
Well, it's really a battle of the 2 point guards. One of them a young guy, Isaiah Taylor. The freshman leads the way for this team. He's quick, he gets into the lane, loves to shoot the floater, and is an excellent finisher around the rim. And then the old KG veteran, DeAndre Kane, the transfer from Marshall, has been one of the best players in all of college basketball, and he leads this high-powered attack for the Cyclones.
Starting 5 for the Texas Longhorns, who are the only Big 12 team with 20 wins to this point. Isaiah Taylor, Javon Felix, DeMarcus Holland, Jonathan Holmes, Cameron Ridley, the 5 for the Longhorns at 20-5. For 17th ranked Iowa State at 19-5, DeAndre Kane. Monte Morris starts for the 6th straight game. The Big 12 leading scorer Melvin Edgem, Dustin Hogue, and George Niang for Iowa State. We are underway at Hilton Coliseum, and Texas has the ball first.
And Roxy, as we watch this Texas Longhorns team, they're going to want to pound this basketball, get it inside to Cameron Ridley or Jonathan Holmes. That's where they were effective the first time when they beat Iowa State on their home floor.
Looking inside, they get it to Ridley.
And you see every time it goes in the post, they're coming from the elbow on a quick double team.
Felix for 3. And the rebound, offensive board for Jonathan Holmes, and Texas resets. Texas, an outstanding rebounding team. As the Longhorns on the year, a +8 per game. DeAndre Kane appears to be shaken up for Iowa State as his shot missed inside by Felix, kept alive by the Longhorns. Felix again for 3. And an offensive rebound, Ridley, a putback, he misses. Holmes inside, and the rebound, Morris at Iowa State. And Kane still laboring to get up the floor. Finally, they stopped play. After numerous cracks at it, Texas could not convert, and DeAndre Kane goes toward the Iowa State bench.
Roxy, and it almost looks like he has some type of stinger. That if you see him holding the back of his neck, and he's not raising his right arm up, as the trainers tend to him. You see he reaches in right there. Doesn't come up with the basketball. But DeAndre Kane, if he misses a significant, or the rest of this basketball game, a huge blow to the Cyclones.
In for Iowa State, Matt Thomas, the freshman, replaces Kane. And a foul against Texas. There is Kane getting looked at on the bench.
And here we get another look at the bottom right of the screen right there. DeAndre Kane with his right arm goes in and reaches, and he goes right to the back of his neck. And the trainers and medical staff are working on him right now.
Foul against Javon Felix of Texas is first. George Niang in the lane has his shot blocked. And here come the Longhorns. DeMarcus Holland. Ridley. The Longhorns have missed their first 6 shots now from the floor. Out of bounds, Texas basketball.
And I like what Ridley did right there. The double team came from the elbow, or the X spot, as Coach Hoiberg likes to call it. But Ridley able to split that double team as the officials reverse the call there and reward the ball to Iowa State.
Our veteran crew of Joe DeRosa, Doug Sermons, Darren George working this Big 12 tilt here tonight.
But what happens right now with DeAndre Kane out of the basketball game, you have a solid point guard in Monte Morris, who leads the nation in assist to turnover ratio, but you lose some of the rebounding, the toughness, and the defensive presence that Kane brings.
George Niang steps out. Offensive rebound for Melvin Edgem. Niang inside to Dustin Hogue, who misses at the rim. And Ridley the rebound for the Longhorns.
And you see Texas, they'll be patient. They'll swing this ball around. Their emphasis is to get that ball inside. They want to play inside the paint and then get to the jump shot.
Jumper knocked down by DeMarcus Holland, and the Longhorns break the seal.
DeMarcus Holland, a guy that Coach Rick Barnes really praises for being one of his hardest workers. Not a great shooter, but he said this guy is on the grind every day in the gym, trying to work on his shot and become a better perimeter shooter.
The sophomore from Garland, Texas, gives the Longhorns the initial lead. Morris for three. Rims off, and the rebound, Isaiah Taylor, the freshman for Texas.
And Roxy, a good sign for Iowa State as DeAndre Kane has come to the scores table, ready to check back in at the next dead ball.
Cameron Ridley has it stripped going up. Matt Thomas pushes for Iowa State. Niang is called for a travel. And here is Kane back into the game for Iowa State. Matt Thomas will head to the bench.
And I don't think we can emphasize enough how big this is. DeAndre Kane is one of those special players in college basketball. He averages 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. But he kind of does everything on this roster for Fred Hoiberg. He posts up, he defends, he rebounds, and he's the leading assist guy in the Big 12.
The only other player in college basketball that averages 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists per game is Kyle Anderson of UCLA. Taylor the floater. And it's 4-0 Texas.
And that's a specialty of Isaiah Taylor. It's not an easy shot, but it's a shot that most point guards should have in their arsenal, that they can get it over the bigs and drop it in. Isaiah Taylor has a special touch.
Melvin Edgem. Kane for three. Offensive board for Edgem. And a block is called against Isaiah Taylor of Texas, his first, second on the Longhorns.
And here we see Tony Parker and Isaiah Taylor. They have the same shots in their game. Tony Parker, one of the best in pro basketball at the floater. And you see Isaiah Taylor kind of mimicking that same shot, that runner floater. Isaiah Taylor really special in that sense.
Kane to the basket, and Iowa State's first points. Quickly, Texas pushes. Felix misses a three. Melvin Edgem another rebound. His third already for the Cyclones. Niang, good pump fake. Morris missing a three. Here comes Taylor for Texas. Either team shooting the ball well early. The Longhorns 2 of 9. Iowa State 1 of 7 from the floor and 0 of 4 from 3.
And you watch Iowa State's defense. Texas, one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the conference. They're kind of backing off, letting Felix or Holland or Taylor, daring them to beat them from the three. They want to pack everything in the paint on the defensive end.
Iowa State, a team that averages over 84 points a game. Niang inside, we're tied at 4. Ridley doubled. Stripped by Melvin Edgem. Here come the Cyclones. Lob, Melvin Edgem.
Roxy right there, a great double team by Cameron Ridley. On to Cameron Ridley on one end of the floor. Leads to the transition on the other end. And Hilton Magic is getting loud and going early. Here you see the double team. Edgem nice and big. Ridley can't handle the ball. Leads a transition. Look at Edgem, gets his head up. The pass, Edgem doesn't give up on the play. And the throwdown for the Iowa State Cyclones.
Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa. Super Tuesday, Iowa State, 6 straight points, leading 19th ranked Texas 6-4. Tickets inside the play.
Well, Roxy, what Iowa State wanted to do tonight is invert their offense. And what that means is that they wanted their post guys, Melvin Edgem and George Niang, playing on the outside and the guards playing on the inside. And there you see the 4 and 5 men are lifted outside of the paint. Jonathan Holmes and Cameron Ridley, and George Niang is a little bit quicker on the drive than Cameron Ridley, and he's able to lay that basketball in, inverting their offense.
Fred Hoiberg's team The 2-point lead, some subs for Texas. Prince Ebay is in. 6'10 sophomore from Garland, Texas. Connor Lambert also in, a 6'9 sophomore from San Antonio. Taylor missing. And the rebound, last touch by George Niang. It stays with the Longhorns.
And you see right now Iowa State having a problem on the defensive glass. They've already given up 4 offensive rebounds, but Texas has yet to be able to convert. Texas, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country.
Again, the Longhorns showing patience offensively. Shot clock at 10. Nice pass inside. Lambert looking for Ebay, and a foul against Iowa State in the post.
But I do like the fact that the Longhorns don't feel rushed and they don't feel obligated to take these open 3-point jumpers that they're being given. They're still trying to force feed the ball inside. Now at some point during the game they are going to have to make a couple threes. It's a part of the game that they've improved on over the last couple games, but Texas still being patient on the offensive end, trying to get it inside.
Martez Walker comes in for Texas, 6'4 freshman from Detroit, as Ebay goes inside and scores, and we're tied at 6.
And Ebay just a little bit too big for Hogue down there and able to get to that left hand and finish.
But George Niang out of the game, a smaller lineup now for Iowa State. Naz Long is in, as Hogue has his shot blocked inside. The Longhorns clear it. Naz Long, another terrific shooter for the Cyclones. A travel underneath against Prince Ebay, and Texas with the turnover. Rick Barnes, his team has won 9 out of 10 coming in here to Hilton tonight, and just 1 game behind Kansas in the Big 12 standings.
And let's see right now with Ebay guarding Edgem. See if they put Edgem in a ball screen, try to free him up. Was a point of emphasis from Coach Hoiberg today. They want to bring those bigs, Ebay, Ridley out on the perimeter. Those 2 guys not as comfortable guarding outside of the painted area.
Marcus Holland inside. The kick out. A 3 too strong from Martez Walker. Here comes Iowa State. Kane to the basket. And the rebound controlled by Texas and Felix. Here's Felix backing it out. Again, Texas on the offensive glass.
And Felix is the guy, he's made the most 3-point shots on his team, but he's 0 for 4 in the first 8 minutes of this game.
Lambert gets the roll.
Connor Lambert, the sophomore from San Antonio, Texas, Churchill High School. Much to improve over his last 4 games, especially on the rebounding end. 7.5 boards per game as Edgem stretches that defense once again.
DeAndre Kane inside has his shot blocked. And here comes Texas. 4 on 3 for the Longhorns. Pass deflected, stolen by Melvin Edgem. Kane on the go. Naz Long. Long on a 3. And Dustin Hogue runs it down for the Cyclones.
This up and down pace really favors the Cyclones. That's how they want to play. They're 4th in the country in points per game, but they want to play fast break basketball.
Here's a versatile Kane. 3 for DeAndre Kane.
Kane not known as a 3-point shooter, but if you dare him to take one, he has the toughness to make it.
Inside, Ebay. Nice spin, but unable to finish. Out of bounds, Texas basketball. Actually, a foul called against Iowa State. Coming up, DeAndre Kane and the Cyclones lead it by 4. And the point guard for Iowa State will break his game down next with Miles Simon. All right, Miles, that's how he gets it done inside of the post. And as you alluded to, his size at 6'4", 200 pounds. But he's stepping out and hitting the 3. He can do it inside and outside. How do you defend DeAndre Kane?
Well, it's difficult to defend him because what Fred Hoiberg does, having the NBA background, he puts DeAndre Kane in positions to succeed depending on the matchups. So like he explained in the video, that if he has a smaller guy on him, Fred Hoiberg's not afraid to throw DeAndre Kane down in the post. DeAndre Kane is excellent in transition, and when he's knocking down threes, then he ultimately becomes very difficult to guard.
George Niang with the flip, and Iowa State leads it by 6.
And there's a staple right there of Fred Hoiberg in the NBA background, the after timeouts plays, or the ATOs. That's a draw up in the timeout to get George Niang going on the offensive end.
Isaiah Taylor is fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot a pair here for Texas. In for the Longhorns, DeMarcus Croker, 6'2" freshman from Orlando. As Ridley back in, so is Jonathan Holmes for Rick Barnes. Foul on Matt Thomas of Iowa State, his first.
Taylor really been a nice surprise for Rick Barnes and this Texas Longhorn squad. He was only the number 13 ranked prospect in the state of Texas last year. But he's been spectacular as of late.
In for Iowa State, Daniel Edozie, a 6'8" junior from Compton, California, as Iowa State turns it over.
See, and there lies one of the problems for Iowa State. George Niang is so good in the post, but the length, the size of Holmes and Ridley, it's tough for him to finish down there.
It's not just the shots that they block, Miles, also the shots that they change defensively. Here's Holmes for 3, and Texas within 1.
Holmes is the only scholarship upperclassman on this Texas roster, averaging 13 points per game this season, coming off a right knee injury suffered in the blowout loss to Kansas State. And then DeAndre Kane, when you let him get a full head of steam, he's a bull to stop.
Isaiah Taylor has his shot knocked out of bounds. It stays with Texas. Let's take a look at tonight's Sonic Showdown.
Well, as you look at the Texas Longhorns, their strength at size leads the Big 12 in rebounds. For Iowa State, they want to get up and down. The only team in the nation to score at least 70 points in every game this season.
That shot from Croker misses everything but kept alive, and Jonathan Holmes on the offensive glass.
And now Holmes and Ridley, they're asserting themselves on the inside. Those two guys combined for 39 and 18 in the first matchup at the Irwin Center.
A season low for Iowa State, twice scoring 70 points. Once here against Kansas, where they really struggled shooting the ball in that contest against the Jayhawks, as Naz Long off the mark on a 3. And the other time was when you and I saw them in the championship game of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic, where they knocked off Boise State.
Yeah, Boise State really jumped on them during that game. It took a second half comeback for the Cyclones to win the Diamond Head Classic.
Melvin Edgem back in as Edozie goes to the bench. Here's Taylor looking for contact, missing the shot. DeAndre Kane on the counter for Iowa State. Edgem missing on the alley-oop. Naz Long missing inside, but a foul called against Texas. Trying for their second alley-oop of this first half to Melvin Edgem.
And the one thing I love, Melvin Edgem, he sprints that floor because he knows DeAndre Kane has his head up. He's running with the leading assist guy in the Big 12. And you can just throw it up to the rim for the athletic Melvin Edgem to finish.
78% foul shooter, 2 shots for Edgem. Jonathan Holmes with the foul. Wednesday night, ESPN brings you a primetime NBA doubleheader. First at 8, the Indiana Pacers square off against Minnesota. Then at 10:30, Dwight Howard makes his return to LA. The Rockets and the Lakers. NBA Wednesday presented by State Farm. It all starts with Kia. NBA Countdown at 7 on ESPN. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. 4-on-2, Iowa State to the basket. Edgem lays it in.
The Longhorns just being too loose with the basketball here in the first half, leading to easy transition opportunities. And here comes another one for the Cyclones.
George Niang all the way to the hoop. Timeout, Texas.
And the Iowa State Cyclones playing opportunistic basketball. They're getting out on the break. The nice dime from Matt Thomas to Edgem, and then George Niang with the beautiful finish and the lead for the Cyclones. Rick Barnes kind of going off on his team. He's very upset with their play, their lack of concentration. But one thing he really enjoys about this squad is that they're very coachable, they're gym rats, and that he can be tough on this group, and they don't take it personal and they come out ready to battle.
Felix knocks down a three.
And that's what you need from maybe
a three for Iowa State.
And I love the little dribble handoff action there to Matt Thomas and George Niang. Thomas is one guy that you can't lose, one of the best three-point shooters in the Big 12.
Kendall Yancey and a freshman from Richardson, Texas for the Longhorns. Holmes steps out long on a three, but kept alive by Cameron Ridley.
Well, George Niang, he ball watched there. He turned around, he didn't put a body on Ridley. Long shots equal long rebounds.
Taylor to the basket. Pretty move on the baseline by Isaiah Taylor. 6 points for the freshman to lead the Longhorns.
Isaiah Taylor has such a quick first step. Caught that ball, swept through, and got all the way to the rim in one bounce.
Monte Morris missing the runner in the lane. Texas pushes. Ridley has it stripped. Here comes Iowa State. Naslong left the ball behind. Felix attacks. Pretty stutter step move by Javon Felix.
Yeah, nice hesitation, left to right crossover, kind of froze George Niang, and then able to lay it in.
Longhorns climb back within two.
And again, this pace is going to favor Iowa State. Texas not afraid to run, but they'd rather pound you in the half court.
Niang with patience in the post, and he got the pump fake to work.
Well, you see, he had trouble earlier in the game getting shots up over Ridley or Holmes, but there gives the little up fake, spins back around, the beautiful footwork to get to his right-hand jump hook.
8 points from Niang and Edgem to pace Iowa State. Kane has 7. Ridley missing everything, and Iowa State controls.
Ridley's a little winded right there. He tried to go quick, but he just didn't have the elevation. May have got bumped on the arm.
Melvin Edgem nails the pull-up.
And there's something very unique. The two post players in the game for Iowa State are Edgem and Niang. They ran a ball screen together. Bigs aren't used to having the guard on the ball screens.
Taylor inside.
So smooth, very composed for the freshman. Gets all the way into the lane and able to hit that floater.
Niang has it poked away. Off the foot of Niang. And it's a Texas basketball. 5:14 left in the first half. Cyclones by 4. Thursday Night Showcase has a Big Ten ACC Conference doubleheader. First at 7. Number 13 Michigan State takes on Purdue. Then at 9. Number 5 Duke heads down Tobacco Road to take on North Carolina. Thursday Night Showcase presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Both games are on ESPN and also on Watch ESPN. There is the Hoiberg family. And Fred's daughter Paige on your left, wearing the black sweatshirt there, is about as clutch a basketball player as there is. And we'll show you why coming up. And she can shoot it just like her dad used to. And still can, I should say.
Iowa State tremendously active on the defensive end tonight, already forcing 7 turnovers, which has led to 12 points for the Cyclones.
Taylor from the baseline. And the rebound, Edgem in Iowa State. Longhorns just 35% shooting from the floor. Matt Thomas missing a three, and Taylor the rebound for Texas. Martez Walker tipped out of bounds by Texas. It goes to Iowa State, and we were talking about the prowess of Paige Hoiberg. Here she is, hitting a game-winning three back in early December for her high school Gilbert here in Iowa over North Polk High School. 7 seconds ago, she hits the game-winning shot.
And when I asked Coach Hoiberg about that, I said, that's the best moment, right, of your basketball career, better than anything you've ever done. And he said, by far, seeing my daughter hit a game-winning shot is the best feeling I've ever had being associated with basketball.
This is coming from a guy who had a 10-year NBA career.
Led the NBA in three-point percentage 1 year.
Number 3 in Iowa State history in scoring. His number hangs in the rafters here at Hilton Coliseum.
But there's nothing better than seeing your kids succeed in life.
Edgem attacks on the baseline and glides to the hoop.
Roxy, that was such a nice play. The pick and pop action. Edgem with a beautiful head fake. Gets eBay off the ground and then able to double clutch in the air and finish.
Walker fouled on a three. And Monte Morris will put Martez Walker at the line, shooting 3 free throws.
And we're watching the leading scorer in the Big 12 Conference. Melvin Edgem gets him up off the floor, dipsy-do, and finishes right at the basket.
All right, Max, Saturday at 7 on ESPN. Don't miss one of the most anticipated rematches of the season. Number 5 Duke against top-ranked Syracuse. Then coming up at 9, a Pac-12 showdown. Number 4 Arizona and Colorado on Saturday primetime, presented by DirecTV. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. Martez Walker shooting 3 for the Longhorns, a 61% foul shooter, the freshman from Detroit.
Martez Walker from Pershing High School, have one of the best nicknames in all of high school basketball, the Doughboys. Juwan Howard, Keith Appling, Steve Smith played there.
Kevin Willis.
But he was also a teammate of Sharon Dorsey Walker, redshirt freshman on the Iowa State roster. No relation.
Prince eBay checks out. One more shot coming for Martez Walker.
Rick Barnes really loves his freshman class of Martez Walker, Kendall Yancey, DeMarcus Croker, and Isaiah Taylor. Those freshmen have been tremendous. And then you see the cold start, but both teams have been heating up since. Found some rhythm on the offensive end.
Dustin Hogue down the lane and gets the roll.
Dustin Hogue, kind of an unsung guy on this team. You would call him the glue guy. He's their best defender. He's the 3rd leading rebounder in the Big 12, and then whatever he gives you on the offensive end is a total bonus for the Cyclones.
First points of the night for the junior from Yonkers, New York.
Good stunt by Monte Morris on that help.
And the rebound controlled by Morris in Iowa State. A lob, Melvin Edgem.
Monte Morris able to control that basketball on the defensive end and then finding the sprinting Melvin Edgem, who seems to always be around the rim.
Lambert missing a 3, but the offensive rebound by Jonathan Holmes.
And the fans want a foul there, but Hogue got into Holmes' body, but the ball went over Hogue's head. If Hogue had jumped, he probably would have gotten the over-the-back call. Look at Kane in the post.
DeAndre Kane sealing Isaiah Taylor in the lay-in. Largest lead for Iowa State. It'll stay with Texas. Last touch by the Cyclones.
DeAndre Kane, as we highlighted early, when he gets a smaller guy, Isaiah Taylor, too small in the post area, we freeze it right there. He rides him up the lane, the perfect delivery. And Isaiah Taylor had no chance right there against the bigger, more physical Kane.
Cyclones by 9. Texas has missed their last 7 shots from the floor. Marcus Holland back in for the Longhorns. Shot clock winding down. Felix doesn't see it. Felix, 3 is off the mark, and the rebound, Morris in Iowa State. Rattled out for Matt Thomas. Texas controls inside the final minute of this first half in Ames. Good post position, but Holmes missing underneath, and Kane comes away with it for the Cyclones. Lambert with a block shot. Felix brings it across for Texas.
He needs to recognize the clock so they can get the last shot.
Nearly another turnover.
Barnes is screaming to pull it out. One shot. Felix didn't know. He didn't know. Rick Barnes is across the court. He's talking to Felix that you have to know about Isaiah Taylor. He wants a 1-4 flat situation against Monte Morris.
So 1 second differential here. Texas can play for the final shot. They've missed their last 9 from the field. Felix missing a 3. Hogue the rebound. That will take us to the end of the first half. 9-point Iowa State lead.
And Iowa State was just dialed in on the defensive end for those last 5 minutes to extend this lead out, converting defense to offense.
At the half, Iowa State 36, Texas 27. The Longhorns a drought of 5 minutes and 31 seconds to end the first half. Now let's join Max Brentos and Jeff Goodman in the studio. The Land Rover halftime report. With the outstanding job defensively, Miles, for Iowa State there to close out the first half. Texas missed their last 10 shots of the first half. They were scoreless for the final 5:31. What were they doing defensively to cause Texas so many problems?
Well, Iowa State's normally a team that relies on their offense, but they had some perfect defensive execution. Here's what exemplifies it. First, they stunt to the shooter right there. That means he bluffed at Jonathan Holmes. That allows Melvin Edgem, his guy, to come back and recover and guard Jonathan Holmes off the bounce. And then they cleaned up on the glass. Look at 4 Cyclones players surrounding the paint area. An excellent blockout job right there by Dustin Hogue on Lambert, which leads to this offensive transition opportunity. It led to an Edgem dunk, but 27% from the field for the Texas Longhorns. Great job by the Cyclones in the first half.
How about Iowa State going inside as George Niang missing a 3, but they had 22 points in the paint against Texas.
And that matches what they had all the first game against the Longhorns. And they don't do it with post-ups, they do it with drives mostly.
Melvin Edgem leading the way for the Cyclones, 14 points, along with 6 rebounds. 9 from DeAndre Kane. George Niang with 8.
And Felix has just not been able to find the range. Now 1 for 9 from behind the arc. This is a man over his last 2 games was 10 for 18 from 3.
Cameron Ridley the rebound. Texas trying to snap a string of 11 straight misses from the floor.
Ridley's shoe came off. Let's see how he can function. His left shoe is loose and he's trying to fix it at the high post.
Isaiah Taylor leading Texas with 8. 5 from Jonathan Holmes and from Felix. Inside to Ridley, and he is fouled by Melvin Edgem. First on Edgem.
And Ridley with 1.5 shoes still able to post up and get the ball as he's trying to fix it before he goes to the line here.
What was it Morris Blackman used to say? It's got to be the shoes.
It's got to be the shoes, money.
So Cameron Ridley to the line, scoreless tonight. Sophomore from Houston, a 62% foul shooter on the year. Actually, they're saying it's out of bounds and not a shooting foul. Ridley is determined to get to the foul line.
Well, persistence is the key. Ridley fixed the shoe, got the basketball, gets rewarded, going back to the foul line.
Second on Monte Morris. Maybe if he had 2 shoes working for him the last time he'd have gotten to the line for 2 shots.
And Ridley's a guy they'll need to get going here in the second half. 0 points in the first half, a guy that averages 11 per game on the season. But Rick Barnes really pleased with Ridley in the offseason. The young man trimmed down, lost some weight, spent a lot of time with strength and conditioning coach Todd Wright. Todd Wright had to give a call in the spring to Cameron Ridley's mom, Sharon, because he noticed every time that Cameron was going home, he was packing on some pounds. You know, it's hard to turn down mom's cooking when you're a college student. But he had to talk with his mom, cut out the breads, the juices, the fried food, and Cameron Ridley slimmed down. He's in better shape, can play longer stretches this year, and it shows in his game.
He's lost about 20 to 25 pounds from last year, and the weight that he had is repositioned as Iowa State gets on the board here in the second half. And a foul called inside against Iowa State.
Well, here we see inverted offense again. That's with Edgem and Niang on the perimeter. This is Dustin Hogue posting up right here. He's going inside, taking the smaller Felix, and able to finish around the basket. And as you hear the noise in the background, the fans very upset. They felt Cameron Ridley did not get hit and that he just didn't elevate high enough to finish that dunk opportunity on the other end of the floor.
Ridley now 3 of 3 at the line.
And the fans are letting the officials hear about it. I've been to a lot of college venues, Roxy, and I know this is your first time here in Hilton Coliseum, but this is your second time here, but this is one of the best college atmospheres in all of basketball.
7-point lead for the Cyclones. Niang, 3. Iowa State with their largest lead of the night. The freshman Taylor banks it in, a crafty play by Isaiah Taylor.
And Taylor did the right thing. When the ball screen is forced down or iced on the side, he attacked the big right there, and because he has that floater or mid-range jump shot, he's able to knock it down.
Niang off the mark on a 3, Ridley the rebound, but a foul jockeying for position against Felix of Texas as he took Dustin Hogue to the deck.
And here we see Isaiah Taylor. Look at the ball screen. It's being forced down. That means they're forcing the action into the big, Melvin Edgem. He gets into the body of Morris, gets the shot off quickly. Nice soft touch off the glass. Excellent job by the freshman Isaiah Taylor.
That ends the run of 12 straight misses from the floor for Texas.
And Texas goes zone on the baseline out of bounds.
Melvin Edgem attacks, and he's making a highlight reel tonight.
Melvin Edgem, his first jump is so quick and explosive off the floor that even the big guys can't get there to contest.
16 for Edgem. Jonathan Holmes and 1 for Texas.
And here's how you carve up the zone. They get it inside, little high-low action, but then the quick burst, the first step, and that elevation. Look at Melvin Edgem's head was at the rim right there, and that's not counting the high top fade that he's rocking.
Look, he was in a zone when he had 48, a Big 12 record against TCU back on February 8th, which tied for the most points anybody scored in a game this season. But he's in a pretty good rhythm, attacking the basket and ramming it home here tonight.
Well, one thing, he makes himself available. And when you play on this Iowa State team, a team that leads the nation in assists at 18.6, you know you're going to get the ball because you have unselfish players.
DeAndre Kane missing, but he's fouled. Will go to the line. Holmes called for his second.
DeAndre Kane, we know he's been having a spectacular year, possibly first team all Big 12, but he suffered some hardships in his life. This is a young man that transferred from Marshall, graduated from college. He's the first graduate in his family, but you look at that number 50, which is a little bit odd for a point guard. And the reason he wears it is that his father, Calvin, passed away a couple years ago when he was 50 years old from a brain aneurysm. And DeAndre Kane got the call. He was playing video games in his apartment after practice one day. And his dad had suffered the aneurysm, and he had to drive about 4 hours to Pittsburgh. And DeAndre Kane, because his older brother is incarcerated, had the burden of being the one to take his father off of life support. He said it's the hardest decision he had to ever make. But he said there's a conversation about 4 or 5 months before that happened that his dad had told him if he was ever on life support, feel free that you take him off, son. I don't want to live in that state. But DeAndre said it didn't make it any easier.
Amazing maturity he has shown. You and I have talked to him, Miles, a number of times, and just so impressed with DeAndre Kane.
Well, even that, Fred Hoiberg was very impressed. He said when they brought him on his recruiting trip, DeAndre Kane owned up to a lot of the problems and troubles that he had at Marshall University. He looked Fred Hoiberg straight in the eye and he said, I put the blame on myself and I can get better as a person. And that's why Fred Hoiberg took him onto the Cyclone roster.
George Niang missing a three. Here comes Texas, the Longhorns within 5. And an offensive foul called on Jonathan Holmes. Clearing out some space inside as Kane went to the deck. 3rd against Holmes.
And Kane just establishing position. Look, he stood there. He owns that ground right there. If you're Jonathan Holmes, you cannot run him over. Excellent job by DeAndre Kane.
So Rick Barnes going over a few things with Jonathan Holmes, who heads to the bench with the 3 fouls. Prince Ebay is in. Hogue spins his way inside.
And you see Iowa State just pulling their bigs away from the basket, allowing Hogue to duck in on the smaller Javon Felix.
Also Connor Lammert in the game for the Longhorns. Felix for 3. Got it.
Felix, the sophomore from New Orleans, St. Augustine's High School. Same high school as one of my former teammates, Eugene Ederson. He's a guy that kind of has to find the rhythm to soften up the painted area. He's going to need to stretch the defense by making some threes.
He's now 2 of 10 beyond the arc. Niang nails another 3. 14 for George Niang. Felix again a 3.
I know Felix struggled in the first half, but this is a young man coming into this game, averaging 22.5 points over his last 2, including 55% from behind the arc.
Had a career-high 28 against Oklahoma.
And look, they're trying to get Kane in the post against Holland.
Niang swatted away by Prince Ebay. Here comes Isaiah Taylor to the basket. Foul against Kane. First against Kane, and Taylor will go to the line for Texas.
And Javon Felix has been big here in the second half. The 6'6" wingspan, the 3-point shot, keeping the Longhorns close.
For 5 Duke, the rematch coming Saturday night at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And the thriller that Syracuse won in overtime at the Carrier Dome. The rematch, and what a tough week for Duke. Carolina Thursday and Syracuse on Saturday.
Yeah, but those guys, they'll be ready for that. The Syracuse-Duke game is arguably the best game of the college basketball season. Remember, Jabari Parker fouled out in regulation on what I felt was a flopping job by Rakeem Christmas there for the Orange, which made a big difference in that basketball game, especially since it went to overtime.
One more for Taylor. Freshman 3 of 3 at the line. Texas, after missing 12 straight shots, has made 5 of their last 6 from the field, and the Longhorns are 12 of 12 at the line tonight, and they have crept back within 2. Iowa State led by as many as 10 here early in the second half. And a steal by Taylor. Felix for the lead. And he misses a 3 and fuels a run out for Iowa State.
See, in that situation, if I'm Javon Felix, I know I've made 2 threes in a row, but I want to attack, try to get to the basket. You have to recognize, if you're a guard, that your team is in the bonus for the rest of the half.
Here comes Isaiah Taylor. And he gets it to go, and we're tied at 48.
Roxy, I don't think people understand at home how difficult of a finish right there that was. That was a little Euro step, but it was same foot, same hand finish.
Block shot by Ebay. Texas with the ball, looking for the lead. Out of bounds, Texas basketball.
And here we see Isaiah Taylor. This is where he really flourishes in transition. He has his head up, he finds, and a right foot, right hand finish. That's awkward for most players, but Isaiah Taylor making it look easy.
So Taylor really emerging as a freshman, is taking over as the floor general for Texas and Rick Barnes. Here's Felix. Rattles off on the rebound, Iowa State.
We're not seeing the same defensive effort from the Cyclones here in the second half. The Longhorns getting anything and everything they want here in the first 7 minutes.
Step back for Melvin Edgem. eBay the rebound for Texas. The pull-up, too strong from Isaiah Taylor. Here comes Iowa State. Kane drops it off to Edgem. And a foul called against Texas, and Edgem to the line. Foul on Prince eBay of the Longhorns, his first.
And Roxy, as Melvin Edgem goes to the line here, I don't know if we've given enough praise to the work that Melvin Edgem has done this year. We know he's the leading scorer in the Big 12, but last year he was the leading rebounder in the Big 12. He was only the third player in Big 12 history to lead the league in rebounding at 6'6" or shorter. Terry Black from Baylor, PJ Tucker from Texas. This guy was the Big 12 Scholar Athlete of the Year last year. He wants to go to law school. He's had 48 points. He does so many different things for this team, and he's a guy that's kind of waited in the wings. Let's remember 2 years ago, this was Royce White's team, a team that went to the NCAA tournament, and he played behind him and waited his time as a role player. Last year, the team belonged to Corey Lucius and Chris Babb and Tyrus McGee. But when it was time for Melvin Edgem to star, he has stepped up into a starring role for the Cyclones.
Edgem gives Iowa State a 2-point lead. DeMarcus Holland along the baseline. Lambert missing the follow. Here comes Kane and the Cyclones. Out of bounds, Iowa State basketball, as Naz Long was caught there in no man's land, wondering what to do with the ball when he left his feet.
Well, Naz Long, he had the right idea. He saw Edgem trailing the play, but when he jumped up in the air, DeMarcus Holland had recovered on the defensive end to deflect that basketball out of bounds.
Iowa State with the ball and a 2-point lead. Approaching 12:40 remaining here in Ames. Nicely done off the inbound. Thomas to Kane.
Heads-up play there by Matt Thomas and DeAndre Kane. A lot of times the inbounder stays out of bounds too long and he couldn't receive that pass, but Kane recognized the opening.
Sometimes the inbounder is the most dangerous guy on the floor, as Kane was right there. And a timeout taken by Rick Barnes and the Longhorns. 12:18 remaining. Super Tuesday matchup, 17th ranked Iowa State up on number 19 Texas. 20-5 overall, while Iowa State at 19-5, and they're 7-5 in the conference, knotted up with Kansas State. But a win tonight can move Iowa State even with Oklahoma for third.
Well, Roxy, I think the big story is that the Texas Longhorns, no one expected from them. They were expected to finish in the bottom half of the league. They lost their 4 leading returning scorers from last season, but the chemistry is better. The culture has changed. When I talked to Coach Rick Barnes, he just said this past spring when they had a team meeting that they were going to put the program first. It was about the name on the front of the jersey, not the back anymore, and it's paid off paid huge dividends for this Texas team.
An air ball from Holland with a shot clock winding down. And Rick Barnes in Texas, trailing by 4 at Iowa State. A tight one at Hilton. ESPN's journey to the tourney features a rematch of one of the most exciting games of the season. 5th-ranked Duke looks to avenge their overtime loss when they host #1 Syracuse. ESPN's journey to the tourney presented by Sonic. Saturday at 7 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. 4-point lead for Iowa State, approaching 11:40 remaining as they host number 19 Texas. A couple of ranked foes going at it here.
You see with Isaiah Taylor, he doesn't even want to look at the 3-point shot. He's only attempted 14 on the year, but that is his shot. He plays to his strengths, and he's almost more comfortable rather than shooting a pull-up like most guards do at 15 to 17 feet. He will shoot that floater or runner from that range, and that is a very difficult shot to have that type of touch on. And then you see the beautiful pocket pass from DeAndre Kane to the rolling George Niang for the lay-in.
16 for Niang. Iowa State lead back to 4. Taylor has 16 to lead Texas. Taylor again fouled. He'll go to the line. Kane called for his second.
And here's what I'm talking about with Isaiah Taylor. So right here, he's at the three-point line. We freeze it there. He's at 15 feet and shooting a floater. And you see Tony Parker is the guy, Chris Paul, but I feel Tony Parker has probably the best floater in the NBA. Isaiah Taylor's is just as good. I mean, the touch that this young man has and the impact that he's had as a freshman has been tremendous for Rick Barnes.
5 of 5 at the line for the freshman, who finished up high school in the Houston area, Village School, but from the San Francisco Bay Area. Grew up in the East Bay in Hayward. Taylor hits both free throws, went to live with a family friend and finish up high school in Texas. As you may remember, his cousin was an outstanding basketball and baseball player. Terrell Lowry from the Hank Gathers, Bo Kimball, Loyola Marymount days. He was the point guard in that team, went on to have a Major League Baseball career.
Oh, I remember him very well growing up in Southern California. I love that LMU team, obviously, with Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers when they made that magical run in the NCAA tournament.
I was kind of a Jeff Fryer guy myself.
I can see that. I can see that. You're not quite the shooter that Fryer was.
I don't know if anybody is. One more for Kane.
DeAndre Kane has made tremendous improvement also, not only as a person growing and getting more mature, but as a player. I mean, his field goal percentage is up 7% from last year at Marshall, three-point percentage up 9%, and he's cut down on his turnovers.
Cyclones by 4. Taylor has scored the last 8 for Texas. Lammert for 3. 1-point game.
Nice job by Connor Lammert, freezing the Iowa State defender with the pass fake, setting his feet, getting squared, and knocking down the 3.
Kane with a strong drive will go to the line. Foul against Texas. And it's the second on DeMarcus Holland. 6 team fouls against the Longhorns.
Kane was a very successful high school player in the Pittsburgh area at Shenley High School, won 3 city titles, a state title, played with DeJuan Blair, who's now in the NBA, and DJ Kennedy that played at St. John's. But I think the biggest accomplishment that he told me, especially that his mother Carol is most proud of, is that he's a college grad. This is a young man that was a non-qualifier out of high school and is now getting a master's degree in education here at Iowa State.
After he graduated last spring from Marshall and taking advantage of the graduation transfer rule, that's why he's immediately eligible here at Iowa State.
Well, right now, if I'm the Longhorns, I'm hanging around. Isaiah Taylor and Javon Felix have to be the 2 guys I'm going to look to on the offensive end. Ridley has really struggled in this game, hasn't made a field goal. So I'm going to rely on my 2 guards to try to get me a bucket.
Just past the midway point of the second half. Felix. Taylor for 3. Rattles out. And Kane the rebound for the Cyclones. Matt Thomas from deep. Second 3 for the freshman. Felix answers with a 3 of his own.
And this young Texas basketball team, they're kind of unflappable. The crowd gets into it. It doesn't faze them. They run their offense. They move the basketball. Isaiah Taylor passes up an open shot for a better shot for Felix.
Melvin Edgem for 3. 21 now for Edgem.
Good ball movement, the unselfishness by the Cyclones creates the open opportunity for the Big 12's leading scorer.
Ridley missing inside. Here comes Iowa State and Naz Long.
And Naz Long's a little shaken up. And here's the advantage. Point forward. They used to do this with Royce White. Ridley can't guard on the perimeter.
George Niang will go to the line. Team starting to get in rhythm, Miles, from deep.
And here's the first one, Javon Felix. You love the extra pass by the point guard, Isaiah Taylor, to find his partner. And then DeAndre Kane gets the hockey assist as George Niang has no hesitation. You see the ball does not stick in anyone's hand for this Iowa State team. They want to get it to the next open guy with the easiest shot as Edgem knocks down the three.
74% foul shooter, Niang at the line. Foul on DeMarcus Holland of Texas, his third.
George Niang, one of the most unique players in all of college basketball. He plays the center position for this team, but he's only 6'7", he's 240 pounds. But he played at the Tilton School in Massachusetts. And the guy that he used to go against every day in AAU and high school practice was Nerlens Noel. And Fred Hoiberg, that's where he noticed him. He said, George Niang was giving Nerlens Noel the business in practice. And really no one was recruiting Niang. But that's what sold Fred Hoiberg on getting Niang into a Cyclones uniform.
Iowa State has pushed the lead out to 7. Lammert hits a three.
Big time shot by Connor Lammert, the 35% three-point shooter. Just squares it up and knocks it in. But the Texas Longhorns have had an answer every time this crowd at Hilton Coliseum has tried to get up and get the Cyclones on their back.
Melvin Edgem hustling for the offensive board. 23 points for Melvin Edgem, the senior from Toronto. And a foul will put Texas at the line, and Taylor will shoot a pair. Good one at Ames. Iowa State up 6 on Texas.
ESPN.
All right, Max, Thursday night showcase has a Big Ten ACC conference doubleheader. First at 7, number 13 Michigan State takes on Purdue. Then at 9, number 5 Duke heads down Tobacco Road to take on North Carolina. Thursday night showcase presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Both games on ESPN and also on Watch ESPN. Isaiah Taylor shooting a pair. He's now 7 of 7 at the line. Texas is 15 of 15.
Roxy, and he's now responsible, including that free throw, for the Longhorns' last 19 points with those 2 free throws. 10 points and 3 assists. 3 threes made on those assists. So Isaiah Taylor doing it all for Rick Barnes' squad.
Third 20-point game of his freshman season. And how about the point guard play all around in this game tonight as Melvin Edgem has his shot blocked inside. Here comes the point guard, Taylor, for Texas. And just about as we were going to talk about it, I had to jinx it.
Yeah, you had to open your mouth right there. I mean, that was Isaiah Taylor has 7 assists and now just 1 turnover on the game. You see the 20 points. DeAndre Kane have another fabulous game all around, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Are one-on-one, both those guys having a great battle. And then you throw in Monte Morris, who plays the 2-guard spot, but he leads the nation in assist to turnover ratio, 6 assists, 0 turnovers for the Cyclones. Monte Morris.
DeAndre Kane knocks down a 3.
Let's see DeAndre Kane, he backed you up right there. He said Isaiah Taylor's gonna throw it out of bounds. I'll show you what a real point guard does.
Felix with a quick answer for the Longhorns.
And again, every time that the Cyclone crowd wants to get involved in this basketball game, the Longhorns have an answer. Felix with the knockdown pull-up.
DeAndre Kane, a strong move to the basket as he just bowled Kendall Yancey right out of the way.
Kane is so big through the shoulders that he can take any of those bumps and guys are just going to bounce right off him.
So with 72 points tonight, Iowa State has broken through the 70-point barrier. They're the only team in college basketball that has scored at least 70 points in every game this season. Melvin Edgem called for a foul, his third.
And DeAndre Kane, the scouting report on him is that you kind of want to go under on these screens because you want to make him a perimeter shooter, but he'll make you pay just enough. And there you see the physical play as Kendall Yancey, the freshman, just bounces right off those shoulders of DeAndre Kane.
7-point Iowa State lead. And for the Longhorns, it will be Jonathan Holmes to the line, a 78% foul shooter, 7th in the Big 12 in foul shooting. And 1 of 1 of the stripe tonight for a 1-and-1. And the first miss from the stripe for Texas tonight. The Longhorns are 16 of 17. Dustin Hogue along the baseline, and a foul against Texas will put Hogue at the line.
Lammert got caught on a switch there on Hogue, and Hogue just too quick with the rip through on the first step.
Second on Connor Lammert. Dustin Hogue, a 67% free throw shooter. 6 points tonight for Hogue and 6 rebounds.
Hogue played his high school basketball at famed Lincoln High School in New York, home of Stephon Marbury, Lance Stevenson.
Came to Iowa State from Indian Hills Community College. Last year put up 13 points and 5.5 rebounds a game. Tipped up and in by Niang. And Iowa State has matched their largest lead. Inside 6 minutes to go in Ames. And a foul inside against Niang, jockeying with Holmes. The third on George Niang, and Jonathan Holmes back to the line for Texas. Longhorns in the double bonus. So 2 shots for Jonathan Holmes. It's first half we saw a combined 7 fouls called. And it's changed here in the second half.
Well, the game's being played almost inside the painted area, especially for the Longhorns here in the second half. They've been aggressive in penetration, looking for post-ups. Where in the first half, Felix was shooting a ton of threes. They're settling for a lot of perimeter jumpers.
Combined 18 fouls have been called here in the second half.
They keep running this little side ball screen action with Niang and Kane. Texas defends it well there. Well, Hogue has a 7-inch height advantage on Felix, and he gets him on his back, and then the perfect delivery by George Niang, who's second on the team in assists. I'd like to see him go back to Jonathan Holmes. He seems to really want the basketball.
Taylor missing. Melvin Edgem the rebound. Eight rebounds to lead Iowa State for Melvin Edgem.
This is a big stop for Texas right here. It's a 10-point game. You don't want it to get out of control and maybe have to call a timeout.
And a foul against Jonathan Holmes of Texas. That's his 4th. 4:51 to go, and Holmes just picks up foul number 4, and it will put Melvin Edgem at the line for Iowa State. Connor Lammert in for Holmes, who will sit with the 4 fouls. Edgem with 23.
Edgem's on pace to become the first Big 12 player to lead the league in rebounds one year and scoring the next. Young man from Brewster Academy. Brewster Academy, home of C.J. Fair, Jakar Sampson, Mitch McGarry. But do you see the balance of this team? They have so many weapons. It's not just one guy that you can key in every night.
As Edgem, Niang, and Kane have combined for 64 of Iowa State's 79. Largest lead for the Cyclones, and Texas will talk things over with a timeout. Iowa State, how have they reasserted themselves here in the second half?
Well, the pace of the game has been played at the Cyclone speed. They want to get up and down, transition opportunities. They've been battling in the painted area. Iowa State holds a 40-16 advantage of points in the paint. This is a Texas team with the size and strength and even the quickness of Isaiah Taylor that usually lives in and around the basket. But Iowa State, they've inverted their offense. taken advantage of mismatches, and that has allowed them to get this 12-point lead with less than 5 to go.
And Texas coming off a game, Miles, where they dominated West Virginia in the paint, outscored the Mountaineers by 32, 46-14, but tonight they're getting it turned on them by Iowa State. Shot clock approaching 10. Here comes Taylor. Holmes with his 4 fouls back in the game. Loose underneath. Niang saves it for Iowa State.
In these last about 4 or 5 minutes, the Cyclones are they're just outworking the Horns a little bit more. They want it a little bit more. They're getting to all those loose balls.
And a Texas team that has won 9 of their last 10 trails Kansas by a game in the Big 12. Edgem steps in. Loose ball. It belongs to Iowa State. Cyclones trying to beat another ranked team. They're 6-2 against ranked teams this year. They lead it by 12. Hilton Magic tonight. Cyclone Nation, as they are seeking Iowa State a 7th win against a ranked opponent, the first time since 99-2000. And in 99-2000, they set a school record by beating 7 ranked teams. And Iowa State is 6-2 against ranked foes this year.
And now Texas goes a zone half-court trap, try to speed up the game, force some turnovers.
Looks like a 1-3-1 they're going with.
Yeah, and they have their big lineup in the game. They have Taylor at the top here, but you see Iowa State is having no parts of it, not speeding up at all.
Shot clock at 10. Niang, pass broken up. Here comes Felix for Texas.
Well, they got what they wanted, the turnover, but 25 seconds had gone off the clock.
Holmes missing a 3, but chases down the rebound. Felix for 3. And the rebound, Kane. Iowa State had it stripped, but a foul call. Foul on Connor Lammert, his 3rd. And Kane will go to the other end to shoot a couple of free throws for Iowa State.
Roxy, I think when you look big picture with these teams, these are 2 teams that are going to go to the NCAA tournament, no doubt. But I feel it's 2 teams that can definitely get to the 2nd week, and Iowa State plays such a unique style, be hard to prepare for if you haven't seen them before because of the NBA background of Hoiberg, where he'll post up his guards and wings, and the big guys, Edgem and Niang, can take you on the outside and knock down threes, and they're a high-scoring team that really shares the basketball. In Texas, they're a young team, but they can just pound you on the inside. Not a lot of teams will be able to match up with their size come NCAA tournament time.
3 Cyclones have scored 20 tonight, and Hogue with a spike out of bounds of Isaiah Taylor.
Dustin Hogue coming from the weak side, showing the athleticism and getting that shot out of here, making a little statement here in the last 2:40 of the game.
14-4 run for Iowa State as Hogue was taking a peek up to the big video board at center court here at Hilton Coliseum to check out his work.
I would admire that too if I did it. I couldn't get up like that though.
You couldn't. Taylor missing. Here comes Iowa State. Edgem with 25, Kane 21, Niang has 20.
So many ball handlers on the floor, 5 guys who can all pass, dribble, and shoot for the Cyclones, makes them hard to pressure.
They lead the country in assists, 2nd in assist to turnover ratio, as Morris way off mark on a 3. Here comes Taylor pushing for Texas. Taylor, and a foul call.
Boy, is he quick.
Niang with his 4th, and Isaiah Taylor to the line with 1:59 remaining.
Not many that I've seen that are faster with the basketball than Isaiah Taylor.
Texas, who has missed their last 6 shots from the floor and not made a field goal in over 5 minutes. One more for Taylor. He has 21. Isaiah Taylor, the freshman, amazing, Miles, that here's a freshman coming in, but he has shot and made the most free throws on this Texas team.
Well, you can see he wants to attack. He wants to get in the paint. He's not a great three-point shooter at this point in his career, so he lives more going to the rim, especially in transition. He's a great slasher to the basket. And
he's 10 of 10 at the line tonight.
Well, he's going to be a big-time player in this league for a very long time.
At what point does Texas begin fouling?
Well, if they're going to do it, it has to be now. I would play this possession out because it's already down to 10 seconds.
Here's Morris. Skips his way to the basket, then misses inside. eBay the rebound. Ahead for Holland. Marcus Allen pulls it out. Taylor missing the floater. The hustle by Kendall Yancey, and a foul called against Melvin Ejim, his 4th. With 1:13 remaining, 2 free throws for the Longhorns.
So right now, if you're the Longhorns, if you can make these 2 free throws, then you're going to want to set up your full court pressure.
Kendall Yancey missing, a 54% foul shooter. Texas 20 of 22 at the line.
And how about the heads-up job by Fred Hoiberg now getting Matt Thomas, a better foul shooter in the game, taking out Dustin Hogue, who would have been the worst one on the court.
And a really good ball handler as well to deal with the trap. First point for Yancey. And Felix fouls Morris with 1:02 to play, 3rd against Javon Felix. Coming up next, NBA Coast to Coast, when we finish up here in Ames. And the Super Tuesday matchup between number 17 Iowa State, number 19 Texas. Monte Morris at the line, 80% foul shooter. Last year's Michigan Mr. Basketball.
Monte Morris, coming into this basketball game tonight, had 1 turnover in his last 551 minutes of gameplay. And this is a freshman we're talking about. 44 assists, 6 turnovers in conference play. The guy really takes care of the ball. Fred Hoiberg's Cyclone team will be in good hands next year once DeAndre Kane graduates.
Starting now the last 6 games is Hoiberg moving him into a prominent role. Holmes attacks. Fouled by Morris, his 3rd. 2 free throws for Jonathan Holmes with 50.9 remaining. And again, Texas, they have not made a field goal, Miles, in over 6 minutes. They've hit a drought here down the stretch.
Well, you have to credit Iowa State's defense. It's been phenomenal. We talked about what they did in the first half. Texas made a run early in the second half, but then Iowa State locked in, fronting the post, taking away the paint, trying to make Texas a perimeter shooting team.
13 now for Holmes. The Texas, who missed their last 10 shots to end the first half, have now missed 7 straight here down toward the end of this one. Marcus Croker comes in for the Longhorns. Nope. And Kane is grabbed by Holland, his 4th. So Kane back to the line at the other end, and the balanced attack. And the 3 big guns for Fred Hoiberg getting it done tonight here at home against number 19 Texas.
Well, they're one of 9 schools with 3 players that average 15 points per game. So when the scouting report comes, I mean, usually a team maybe has 1 excellent defender, sometimes 2, but there's so many different guys you have to match up on, and Fred Hoiberg is a master at exploiting mismatches.
Kane missing the first. This Iowa State team, with Kane and Ejim, might be the only team in college basketball that have had 2 players score 40 or more points in a game during their collegiate career. Edgem earlier this year against TCU with his 48, and Kane had 40 when he was playing at Marshall against Tulsa. Need to go quickly. Felix step back 3. Out of bounds, off of Niang. Texas ball with 32.2 remaining.
Well, Iowa State seems to have kind of righted the ship. You know, you and I covered them a few times in the first couple months of the season when they're on that winning streak, won 14 in a row. Then they lost 3 straight games. But now after this victory tonight, they'll have won 4 of 5 with their next matchup coming at TCU.
Taylor hits, timeout Texas with 26.3 to go. And Taylor now with 24 points. Here's what's coming up on the docket for Iowa State and Fred Hoiberg. They're at TCU on Saturday, then West Virginia comes here. At Kansas State, at Baylor, and they wind up with Oklahoma State to end the regular season here at Hilton Coliseum.
And nothing in this league comes easy. TCU still battling, trying to get their first win. You know, they'll give the Cyclones a very tough game, but then those last 4 games, West Virginia, Bob Huggins' squad has been playing well. Juwan Staten and Aaron Harris, the top scoring duo in the conference. And you know Baylor's going to be a team that's they're hanging on to that proverbial bubble. They don't want it to pop, so they'll play with a sense of desperation a couple weeks from now.
What a wild game last night in Waco. Overtimer between Oklahoma State and Baylor, and a miracle getting Oklahoma State to overtime. Then Baylor put it away in the extra session. Against the press. And a foul called, and it will send Matt Thomas to the line with 18.4 to play. Coming up for the Longhorns. And Texas now will get ready to host, or rather visit, Kansas on Saturday. Baylor goes to Austin, then a visit to Oklahoma, TCU, and at Texas Tech to end the regular season.
Texas already has beaten the Jayhawks on their own, beat them on their own home floor at the Irwin Center. Andrew Wiggins had a tough game there, went 2 for 12 from the field. DeMarcus Holland did an excellent job on him that game.
And with the victory here for Iowa State over Texas, it'll put the Longhorns 2 back in the loss column of the Jayhawks. Really strong game, though, for Isaiah Taylor tonight. Freshman missing. Holmes comes flying through the key. Taylor to the basket. 26 points for Taylor. He had 27 against Baylor earlier this year. And that will do it. And a strong showing down the stretch from Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State on the defensive end, very dominant at the end of both halves, and able to pull out the double-digit victory here in Ames.
Melvin Edgem with 25, DeAndre Kane 22, George Niang 20 to lead Iowa State. Our final score, number 17 Iowa State 85, 19th ranked Texas 76. Coming up next, NBA Coast to Coast. For my partner Miles Simon, our great ESPN crew, Roxy Bernstein saying so long from Ames. Now let's get you to NBA Coast to Coast.